me introduce myself. My name is...
G'day everyone, I'm Tasman Bricks, and joining me, very, very excited to have just two blokes, guys, whatever, chatting about Lego and just chilling out and having a good time. I'm very, very privileged to have with me one half of Brothers Who Brick from season 1 of the US Lego Masters, Corey Samuels. Hi Corey, how are you?
What's going on, Taz, man? What's up?
Thank you so much for taking time out today. I know it's in the afternoon where you are, and it's morning over in Australia at the moment, but thank you so much. Hope you had a really good day. Did you do anything fun today?
Yeah, actually, I usually do a class. I teach a class in the morning, in the afternoon. One of my students, we usually meet on Friday, but the last few times we met on Saturday, and it's been a treat, just building with this young lady. She's 5 years old, and I've been building with her for the last 3 months now. And
That's awesome. Yeah,
you know, she's learning all different types of stuff. Like every day, every class, I try to kind of challenge her. So today was all about forced perspective. So she was learning how to build something.
Yeah.
Forced perspective where it's small, but it's in a big scale. So she had fun learning how to do that, and it was really challenging for her because she wanted to do one thing, and it was like, no. Remember, you can't add this into this. She's like, oh, I can't put this car in there. I'm like, no, you have to make it like maybe one stud to represent that car.
That's cool. That's awesome. I've got a daughter of a similar age, so it would be interesting to see how they learn something like forced perspective from such a young age. But that sounds really cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So for those of us who may not have seen US Lego Masters or have even been able to go onto YouTube to see a couple of videos or anything like that, outside of Lego Masters, tell us a bit about yourself. You're in. Now, I'm saying this now. I did go onto the internet and try and do a little bit of googling. But you're from Irvington. That's Monmouth Junction, is it, or that's part of?
My hometown is Irvington. That's where I grew up for most of my life.
Yeah.
And I currently live in Monmouth Junction, which is south from Irvington, so it's around Central Jersey.
Yeah. And is it a big settlement or a small, like a neighbor or not a neighborhood? Sorry, a suburb or?
Yeah, it's a small suburb.
Cool.
It's called Monmouth Junction because several towns run through it.
Okay.
So it's like one road starts in one town and it runs through Monmouth Junction and goes to another town. Okay. And then it's like several streets that run through this small section of Monmouth. So that's why it's called the Junction.
That's cool. So in a way, are you and Travis responsible for helping make it bigger on a map? Like, some people say, oh, you two put that town on the map or something. Did you guys, are you sort of responsible for that?
You know what, for Irvington at one point, because we were getting a lot of attention around the time when Lego Masters came out, that two local boys is doing this awesome show, positive show with Lego, but then COVID happened around the same time that the show premiered. So it really hindered us from being able to do big functions. We were going to do a function with the city and with the mayor, and all that stuff got put on hold because of what's going on in the world. So we would have been able to really put Irvington on the map, but we're still there. We're still
of course
doing that. So just a little bit of a pause. That's it.
Yeah. No, it's great to see that that you've taken so much positivity away from the show, And I know that Travis had said that the biggest thing he took away from it is to never doubt yourself. I think he said that in an interview with Brothers Brick, I think. What was your biggest takeaway from it?
Ooh, my biggest takeaway from the show?
Yeah. As far as, yeah, anything sort of like Travis sort of said for himself, you know, never doubt yourself. And was there something that maybe you maybe didn't know about yourself before you went on, or while you were on, and then after you've gone, oh, okay, that was interesting, or something like that? Was anything like that in particular, or?
Yes, actually, you know, I learned while being on the show that I have to learn how to be more flexible, and I have to learn how to let go. So
Yep.
I'm very I'm a perfectionist. If I'm building something, I will not be satisfied until it is fully built,
Yeah.
fully done. That's my whole thing. And you know, being on the show, you have to build something with the time restriction. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really leave you a lot of room to be a perfectionist, because you have to be able to build in such a way that you can still get your vision across, but still also meet the time requirement.
Yeah.
And you know, there were parts in the challenge where, you know, my brother had to kind of get me out of that tunnel zone.
Yeah.
And try to bring me back to say, hey man, you're spending an hour on this small part,
I
but we
get
got
it.
this massive thing we still got to build. So
I get it, man. Yeah.
yeah.
Could you possibly pass blame on to the brick pit because of the fact that, yes, it has a large amount of parts, it has a good color range as well, but
Yeah.
sometimes they could have too many, like if you had especially profile bricks, because you know yourself, if you're ever doing a building, the first thing I go and reach for is my profile bricks. That's the first thing I then run out of, is profile bricks. But um, could you, in a way, maybe pass some blame onto the brick pit itself?
Um, one sec.
You're right.
To be quite honest with you, yes, absolutely. The brick pit, definitely made it more difficult for us to really compete, because
Yeah.
the variations, and it's like there were times that I was caught trapped in the brick pit along with other contestants, because we're just going through what's there, and we're just like, ooh, if I use this and then I connect it to this, and we're literally building,
Wow.
you know, parts that we're gonna put into our actual mock, and we're building all that stuff at the brick pit, and we're just like, wait, we got to take these pieces and put it on the table. So just having all of those brick pits, those pieces there, is like, it was annoying.
Yeah.
But it was also good though, because it just gave us a chance to really go wild. There was no restriction as far as where our imagination can go. There were some part restrictions, because, you know, some parts were there, but if they were taken, and that was it, first come, first serve. So, you know, we had to learn to adjust, but yeah, just having all those bricks at once was just overload, at least for me.
Yeah, I think if I was in the same situation, I would be probably overwhelmed with just the sheer selection. But when you're given a challenge or a build, I think it would be, certainly overwhelming to walk in there and go, okay, oh, now I could do this, I could do that. And then all of a sudden you've blown 5-10 minutes just standing there trying to work out what you could do. So did it, when you first saw the brick pit, did it take long for you to then just become used to it and go, right, okay, I'm in here for this piece, grab it and then walk out, and not sort of be mesmerized by it every time you were in there?
Honestly, it was the first day. The very first day that we had to that we went out to start building. For all of us, it was a little bit overwhelming for all of us. You know, to just be in front of all those bricks. A lot of the builds that you saw the first episode, it really didn't come into a full form until maybe 7 hours into the build. Because a lot of us, we were just really just getting familiarized with the parts, getting familiarized with the pieces, getting familiarized with what we're working with. And then once we were able to figure that out, it was smooth sailing, because it's not a big space. It's like literally 2 corners where you had to learn. All right, all the plates are on this side, all the bars and beams and all the Technic stuff is in this corner. All the motors, all the minifigs are right here. So we kind of learned how to definitely get that going. So
oh, that's it's good. It's good to see that you're able to then just sort of get into it after a little while and go for it.
Absolutely.
So you're a I did read you're a Lego engineering instructor. Is that your profession or your job title, so to speak? Or
yes.
Tell us
so
about that.
it's so the job that I had at the time, when they did my bio, was a Lego engineer instructor. Basically, I would go and do after school programs where I would teach kids STEM using Lego. So I would teach them how engines work, how to make elevators, how to make cars, how to make planes, how to make buildings out of Lego. And then occasionally we would have a theme to get kids more interested. So we'll do a Harry Potter theme, Minecraft, Marvel, DC theme. And then, when COVID hit, I then had to change directions because I wasn't able to go to the physical locations. And then the job that was who contracted me to do these things then put me on furlough. So, they were like, hey, we can't afford, because there's no schools opening, we can't afford to continue business. So we're going to have to furlough you. So then that made me even more determined to say, okay, well, that means I have to now kind of do for myself and be my own man. So, so I'm still a Lego instructor, engineering instructor, but I'm more, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm more
virtual now.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about how COVID has affected that, because working with such a, if I'm using the word right, a tactile sort of form, such as Lego, where you're, yes, you can use virtual programs like LDD or Lego Digital Designer and things like that, or but for the fact that it is such a it's hands-on. I know with my own kids, I can sit with them and help build a set if they get stuck on a particular instruction, and you are basically right there next to them. So of course, when the pandemics hit, that instantly changed everything. So, but from that, this might be a bit of an interesting. It's not to say, are we going to look for a silver lining with the pandemic? From I suppose how it affects us in everyday life. Have you been able to possibly extend your I'm trying to say, would it be employment, or have you found that you've been able to enhance your job now better, or maybe more efficiently or differently? Obviously there would be difference if you're doing more virtually, but any other have you found that you've been able to enhance what you do if the pandemic didn't happen,
so
against to where it has happened?
So to be quite
sorry
honest, no, it's cool, it's cool. So to be quite honest with you, I have found great success during the pandemic era, and a lot of things can contribute to that success. One, it could be that the fact that we were on this nationwide show, and along with a global phenomenon of Lego Master as a show, because a lot of our fans here in the U.S., they know about Lego Masters in Netherlands, Lego Masters in Australia. So I feel like a part of that contribute to my success, because I chose to make. They often say, the saying goes, when life gives you lemon, you make lemonade. So I'm the type of guy that said, okay, well, I'm not only going to make lemonade, I'm going to make a lemon cake. I'm going to make a lemon pie. I'm going to make I'm going to use those lemons and I'm going to squeeze them dry. So
Yeah.
that's the whole approach to where I am now, where, you know, I've been doing classes since April, as early as April. And I've been doing these online classes, and, you know, just having multiple students from all over the world, you know, being a part of my classes, and, you know, benefiting from my knowledge and teaching them. And then, you know, other events like, excuse me, corporations have reached out to me and my brother to do special events for them, Lego events. And you know, because of the consistency that I like to promote the stuff that we do, and the consistency as me as an instructor, as a teacher, you know, it brought people to us. And, you know, we have, my brother, we have a style, we have a personality, we have a look that people like. And we want to make sure that we're giving back that positivity that we ourselves share with everybody. So that's what's helping us.
And that's such a great answer, because I also read that from a young age, you tried to find ways of bringing positivity out of something negative when you were younger. And you did say that you were, I think this is in the same Brothers Brick interview, where you did come from a loving home, but you still found the positivity, or tried to find positivity out of negativity. My son, who is almost 10 years old, even at his age, he actually tries to do the same thing, which is, it's something that I would never discourage him from doing. You know, unfortunately, he's, and especially 2020, out of having to be, for us, he was homeschooled for a while, until the local schools could reopen again, and then we could also not reopen, but until it was more safe to sort of get him back to school. And from that, you know, he didn't see it as a negative at all. He actually tried his best to, and at a young age, you got to remember too, at such a young age, to experience what he has, also what we have, but from a young age. When you're an adult, you can sort of see a little bit of what's going on, and we can go back and read about history from other things that have happened to try and help us wrap our own head around what's actually going on. But for a 10-year-old to do that, that's an incredible thing to ask of not only just a child, but of anybody, to go, wow, okay, this is something, this is a global, you know, this is impacting the planet. It's such a big thing. But to see his positivity from that, or try to find a positivity out of it, it's something I would never discourage. It was something that it was seeing his personality start to develop more. And I know, and people will know as well, especially those who are familiar with yourself and Travis. So he experienced leukemia at an extremely young age. Was it, he was diagnosed at 6, was it 6 years old, or was it a little bit older when he was diagnosed with leukemia?
Yeah, Travis was 6.
6 years old. So from that, I know, or was reading that you and him were able to, at least in a way, bond with Lego, but to have something at least there to, and from the little bits, and just hearing you even on your other streams, where there's been, when you've gone live on Instagram or YouTube, I've heard you reference Travis in such a positive manner and such a positive light, that man, you know, for yourself, you know, it is such a really cool thing to see, man. That's great.
Yeah, that, like, you know, like Travis, he's a very incredible person, you know. My grandmother used to always say that, you know, between me and Travis, if it was me who had leukemia and it was Travis who didn't have it, you know, the story would be a lot different.
Yeah.
And she didn't say that to say like, you know, to pit me against my brother like that. It was like she said like Travis's personality, he's very strong-willed. He's very strong when it comes to you know, even in this position. I'll share a quick story with you and with others. When Travis was in the hospital, everybody used to come and visit Travis.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they came because they pitied him or anything like that.
No.
Travis would do more than you know, most of the other patients that were in there, even patients who were just there to, you know, for minor surgery. Travis was doing so much more. You know, he was always active. He's a jokester. Out of all of us, we have 5 siblings. It's 5 of us. We have 3 sisters. Is me and my brother.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And Travis is he's the jokester of the family. He messes around. He's always joking around. Wow. So he kept that same spirit. You know, doctors will come to him, and you know, when they have to inject them, when they have to, you know, needles and everything like that, he said he'll look at them and say, "Is that the biggest one you got? Come on, doctor, you can do better."
You can do better.
This 6-year-old kid, you know, like that, saying all this stuff, and he has all this energy, and you know, there was a moment where Travis had his first spinal tap. Yeah. And when you have leukemia, spinal tap is like basically they take a large needle and they inject it into the spinal cord in the fluid. Yes. And I think they have to take out a specimen so they could test certain things, because Travis's leukemia was something that was still in the early stages of discovery. So like modern medicine was still trying to understand, how do children get this disease and how do we treat it? So a lot of the treatment Travis did was very experimental. Yes. Because they didn't know whether or not he would do well from it, or it would accelerate his condition. Yes. Yeah. But he did this first spinal tap, and he came back to the room and he was wiped out. For days, he was wiped out. Yep. And you know, I would come and visit him, and you know, I'm so excited to play with my brother and to hang out with my brother. And then it's like, you know, my mom is saying, "Well, Travis is sleeping." I'm like, "Well, he's been sleeping for the last 2 days. What's going on?" He said, "Yeah, he's just really tired." You know, and when Travis was down, the hospital was a different place. Like that floor was buzzing and people were laughing. It was quiet. Yeah. And that's the type of impact Travis has on people. And, you know, especially me as his brother, that's the impact he had on me and still do. Yeah. You know, because I always want to make sure that I make him proud, you know, at the end of the day. Because, you know, that I want him to be able to look up at me and be like, "Oh, man, I'm so proud of my brother." But I'm also doing that so that I want him to be proud of where he's come from and how far he's traveled. Because he's been on a journey in his short life. He's been on a journey.
Yeah. I think as well, still sort of on a similar topic here, but we know that, you know, once you go on television and even whether it's Lego Masters or something else, you know, in life, you can be afforded opportunities that you might not have been prior to going on to TV. I'd like to think though that your positivity, your positivity and your outlook on life has helped you with being afforded other opportunities, because as we've seen so far, and even just on your streams, which I try to catch most of them whenever I can, you don't change. You know, and I say that in a positive light. It's not a negative. It's not put on for a show. You're not. You know, it's like saying who you are is, and not that I know you off camera or off streams, but I would, I'd imagine you'd probably you'd basically be the same. So what we see is what is, you know, is what we get. There's no, and I'd like to think that there's positivity, even from dealing with what you've had to deal with as a family earlier on in life, but that's carried through your life to now and obviously into the future. But your positivity, I think, would be certainly a help to that as well. And people would see that, whether it's corporations or people contracting you for work or commissioning you for work. You know, so man, don't ever let that, you know, um, see that as well as a positivity, because or as something that you can take from that as well, for the fact that, you know, hopefully that will carry you through as well. Definitely.
Like my mother, you know, she's a real test to the way me and Travis have been raised. Our father, he's always been the strict one. He's the one who helps us to have balance as far as discipline.
Yeah.
Like me and my brother, we're two different guys. You know, I'm the more disciplined one. Travis is the more rambunctious, more free spirited. But the thing that we have in common is that once we have a goal in mind, once we have our mind set, then we're focused. And once we're focused, there's nothing changing that. But our mother always wanted to instill in us that we should have love for everybody. And we should have love for each other as brothers. Because that's one thing. Like when the opportunity of Lego Master came, they approached me because of what they saw on my Instagram, and you know, they asked me, who would you, what kind of part, like you could bring a partner, or we could provide you a partner. Who do you want to bring on? I'm like, oh, that's a no-brainer. I got to bring my brother.
That's
you know,
awesome.
If I don't, my mom is gonna, she's gonna like this opportunity, you didn't bring your brother along. So it was a no-brainer for me to bring my brother, and the opportunity really helped my brother, because, you know, as men, you know, and once you get to a certain age, when you're approaching that 30 mark, you know, you start to look back and say, okay, all right, did I do the things that I set out to do? You know, did I go to college? Did I get that job I always wanted? Did I get that car I ever wanted? Did I get to date that you know, whoever I always wanted? You know, we start to ask those questions when we get to that age. And Travis was getting to that crossroads where, you know, what have I done to look back at his 20s? Like, what have I done during my 20s that I could be proud of? And, you know, this opportunity came at the tail end of his 20s to where he can now look back and say, oh my gosh, like I was the face of this show at one point. You know, one of the first advertisements had Travis's face as the thumbnail, and Travis was just ecstatic. He was like, I don't care how they promote us on the show. Like, look at this. Like, I can show my kids this.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
he was so happy about that. And like, you know, for us, it even went further than just us. Like me and my brother, we have a really close group of friends who we grew up with, and this is through church and everything. Like, we've been super tight with the same group of guys, same group of girls. And when they saw this, they were just overly ecstatic. They were like, listen, we don't even care if you guys win or whatever. You guys are about to be on national TV. Like none of us has this opportunity, and you guys have an opportunity. You're doing it. We're doing something fun and positive. So you're not on TV for something bad that you did. You're on TV because you're doing something, and you're allowed to be yourselves, like be dressed the way we know you as. And it's just been awesome, you know, that's just awesome, being in this position, you know, and still, continuing that same momentum and that same type of love and energy. So
do you ever find yourself having to remind Travis, you know, if he ever asks, like, you know, or tries to look back and go, you know, what have I done? I read that he's a teacher. I mean, that alone is, you know, I think teachers are, and look, I know when we're adults, so when we were kids, I'm sure we had teachers that we absolutely loved and you know, would want to be friends with. You know, when we got older and could see ourselves going to a barbecue with them, or going over to their house and just hanging out with them as an adult, and being their friend. And then there were teachers that we probably didn't really have that thought of, and just go, no, well, if I don't see that teacher again, I won't lose any sleep. But you know, trying to put it nicely, but I'm sure, you know, but teachers in general, and I've and just even with, you know, with my own kids, and having met their teachers, they have an extraordinarily difficult task nowadays, of teaching. It has changed so much, even in the last 20 years. to where, and beyond, obviously, and even going back into 30 years of when we were at school, to see where it is now. Um, you know, I think globally teachers need more recognition than what they get.
I agree.
And I mean, for him to be a teacher alone is something big enough. That is, you know, the fact that he's teaching, he's using his passion, he's using his knowledge, he's using his way to be able to educate kids. Not everybody can do that job. It's like people in emergency services. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone has the ability to go to an horrific crash scene and just be able to just go straight into, right, this is what we've got to do. This is how we've got to do this. Let's save some lives. You know, and not everyone can be a teacher. And so, you know, hopefully he sees that too in himself, that just being a teacher alone is something pretty special.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Travis, yeah, he's had his he kind of not stumbled across this avenue, but a lot of his side jobs that he's always done, he's always been doing something in education, whether it's babysitting or it's
Yep.
working at the YMCA. So he's always been working in that arena. And then you know, when he finally decided to kind of be a you know, early education teacher, where he's dealing with kids that are you know, preschool age, 4 years old, 5 years old.
Yeah.
And Travis is like, they call him Mr. Travis and Mr. Samuels. And I'm looking at Travis, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this, you just grew up in front of my face. Like you're a teacher, you know, he's a student, he grades papers. And it's like, you know, at first he just saw it as another job.
Yeah.
Right. But over time, it started to grow to where, wow, I'm making an impact on these students. Like some of his past students who are now in 2nd and 3rd grade, they come back to the preschool just to see Travis and just to say, hey, Mr. Travis, guess what I'm doing right now? And show them. And I'm like, bro, that experience right there, that's what teaching is all about. When you can make exactly. Like me and Travis, we had the same art teacher. Like Travis literally like followed my footsteps, which I love, because I went into a program that was gifted and talented for art. Travis went into the same program when he became in 6th grade, and he had the same teacher. And Travis was in the last class for my teacher when she retired. And I remember I went to his graduation, which was her retirement as well. And me and Travis was with her, and we were just like, you know, you shaped us to who we are today. That you know, teaching is now a big part of who we are and what we want to do when we get older. You know, and at the time I was working in corporate America, that whole thing, but I still was teaching in my own way. You know, but you know, it's because of those teachers that made that impact that we are instructors today. And Travis, he just got a new job as a preschool teacher at another location. But he'll have full authority in his class, meaning he's creating curriculum, he's creating the daily plan, daily meals, he's creating everything for his class, and I'm just super proud of him that he's able to do that.
Yeah, wow, man, it's truly something to be proud of. That's that's awesome. And look, for those seeing this on my my Instagram, I'll probably end up putting this up on my Facebook as well. And I'm more than happy for Corey to share it on his social media platforms. So it's such a great way that we can share a common interest and get to know you as well. And not just from your Lego background. I do want to ask, do you cook at all?
Do I cook?
Yeah, so Corey's kitchen, for example, if you had instead of having Lego in the background, so for at the moment on video, I can see a nice background with full of Lego. If we had a kitchen in the background, what would be your favorite dish and why?
Oh man, that's an easy question. To not sound anyway. I've been told that I am the blackest Italian that anybody knows.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
I love Italian food.
Yeah.
I love cooking it. That's my favorite. My favorite dish is baked ziti. I feel like I make the best baked ziti anywhere.
You'll have to explain that one to me.
So what, I used to I used to be a real still am a big fan of Gordon Ramsay.
Okay,
and I used to love MasterChef.
Yeah.
So I would cook in the kitchen as if I was on MasterChef. So I'm mixing things, and I'm talking to them I'm like, yes, chef. And I'm like, I look insane doing this. But afterwards, my dish comes out and it looks really good, and it tastes really good too.
That's
I'm Italian. I don't know how. I don't know how that's possible, but my mom, she never she would make Italian dishes like every now and again because I would ask. But I come from a Caribbean household, so all our food was Caribbean food. But we just got I don't know. I fell in love with Italian food. I went to Italy. I ate food over there, and I was just even more. Wow. It was just more. I just love Italian food.
That's fantastic. I wish I could say the same. Unfortunately, I can't. In regards to my cooking abilities, if it was down to me, my kids would mostly be having and I don't know if they call them the same. I know different countries have, for the same type of food, different meanings or words. I can do toasty, so I can do ham, cheese, and tomato on like the grill or like a sandwich press, a sandwich maker.
It's like a panini, what we call it over here.
Yes, I can do that. So, but for me, it's basically 2 pieces of bread, bit of butter, some ham, tomato, some cheese, and then grill it, and then that for me is a meal. I've even shared it on my Instagram a couple of times where I've made, where I've made the toasty, so I'm not, I'm in no way a gourmet chef by any standards, but it's great to see that you've got another love and another passion.
Oh yeah.
And it would be great to not just share that with yourself, but with your family and friends. And now that you've done Lego Masters, if a cooking show were to approach you, would you absolutely jump at the chance, or?
If the only way I would jump to that is if it's Gordon Ramsay. If they say, "Hey, we want you to be on MasterChef as a home cook."
Yeah.
And you're gonna have Gordon Ramsay critique your dishes.
Wow.
I would do that. And I know I would not win. I wouldn't get far. But I just want Gordon Ramsay to just to eat my dish and just give me his honest opinion.
That's fantastic.
And if he goes in on me to say, hey, this is the worst spaghetti I've ever had in my life. Thank you, Chef. Thank you. I would do better. I'm weird like that. I would love that so much.
It'd be certainly like either way you would take something from that, Yes. It'd be pretty cool though. I know myself just having to challenge myself just even in doing stuff outside of Lego and building and things like that. Life gives you opportunities, and you do your best to make the most of them. I know that if something was to happen short term, if it was just down to myself, like if something happened to my wife and I was needing to step in and be a cook, the kids would probably get sick of my toasties very quickly. But I know I would adapt, and I'd have to try new things. But but it would be, for me, very quickly I'd be thrust into that environment, and I would probably be an absolute wreck. My kitchen would look like it would be an absolute disaster zone.
It's interesting. my parents were very big on preparing me and Travis for a life where they're not present.
Yeah.
So they wanted to make sure that we knew how to do everything.
Yeah.
And as much as my mom did a lot of stuff, the person who taught me the most was my dad.
Yep.
My dad taught me how to sew. He taught me how to cook.
Wow. Yeah.
I can remember Sundays, me and my dad we're fixing something outside in the house, on the roof, on the car, pipes, whatever. My dad, he's a handyman. He likes to do his own thing. He doesn't ask for no help.
Yeah.
That's just how he is. And then we'll turn around and we'll cook like dinner, and then we'll go bring that dinner to my mom, who's working 30 minutes away from the house. He'll be like, all right, well, we had some rice and peas, we got some chicken, some plantain,
cool,
some lettuce or whatever, or salad. And then I would drive it up to my mom, and it was like that all through my teenage years. It was like with my dad, because my mom always worked on the weekends, but my dad was always home, and it was vice versa, where my dad was always working during the weekdays and my mom was home in the evenings. But he taught me how to do everything. So it's like, but he didn't teach me how to cook any Italian dishes. My dad had nothing to do with that. He can't do spaghetti. He don't like none of that stuff.
No.
But I kind of understood how to cook, so that I started like experimenting.
Yeah, it's the foundations. That's awesome. Yeah. You mentioned working on a car. I know on one of your streams, this is going back possibly last week, or earlier this week, you mentioned having to shift a car that you were was it out the front or near your, or was it your brother's car? Was it Travis's car or something, or a family member's car? You were talking about having to move it or something, and you weren't sure how you were going to do it. Did you end up moving it?
Oh yeah, that was my car.
It was your car. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I have so my first love, as far as a car is concerned, is my Audi. I purchased this. This was the first car I ever purchased with my own money. By myself. My parents only drove me to the dealership. I learned it's a stick shift, so I learned how to drive stick.
Cool. Yep.
Just so I could buy this car.
Wow.
And I've had it for, my God, I got it in 2006.
Yep.
So, 12 years or so. No, 14. Yeah, 14 years. So I've had that car for about 14 years. I stopped driving it 2 years ago because, it went bad. The flywheel went on it, and the amount of money it takes to fix a flywheel on an Audi, it makes no sense. Just purchase a new one. Especially with the amount of miles I have on it. It's over 200,000 miles, close to 300,000.
Whoa.
And I had to move it from the spot for a day. And I didn't even get to share the rest of the story, but me and my friend, we were up in the morning, like 5 a.m. We got the hood open. We got jumper cables. We got the car started. The car was, the energy was going through the car, but it wouldn't kick over. So as much as I was trying to kick it over, it wouldn't kick over. So I said, all right, well, maybe if I'm going to bang the brakes a little bit, jar the brakes a little bit, so that way it can, because the brakes were kind of seized onto the actual, it was seized onto the caliper. The caliper was seized up, so I need to loosen that so that I can move the car freely in neutral. And as I'm doing that, the guys who were working on the parking lot came up to me and said, "Hey, are you trying to move your car for us?" I said, "Yeah, man, I'm trying to get it out the way for you guys." He was like, "Listen, don't worry about it. Like like your spot, we don't need to fix every crack. We just need to get the majority of the cracks. So yeah, you can just leave it here." I was like, so I was up for 2 hours earlier. And I could have just left this here, but it was good though, because I do need to get rid of the car. I do need to sell it finally and get it out of the space. And I just haven't been able to let go of it, and it's bad because I need to move on. I've moved on already, but I just like seeing it there, knowing that that was I put so much work into it, and it was my it's like a mock. It's like a Lego mock, right? You build it. You look at it, you stare at it, you have to give it away, or you have to bring it to a competition, or you have to break it down. You just can't, because it's like, that's you know how much work you put into it. It's like
Yes.
that.
Yep. I've got one of mine in particular. If you deep dive right back into the start of my Instagram, you'd see I did a cafe. I call it like a cafe bakery mock.
Nice.
And now, yeah, when I first built it, I was proud of it. I was, proud enough then to be able to share it on I suppose a global platform such as Instagram. Now that in itself, when you put yourself out there as, and yes, it's Lego, but and really there's no right and wrong in how we do our hobby. But I put that mock up, and I look at it now and think, you know what, I know I can do better. So myself, that particular mock will disappear, because part wise, I definitely need a lot of the parts off that to. When I built it back then, my technique wasn't as it's improved since, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
where I was using bricks back then, where I thought was good, I was actually being wildly inefficient with their use, which depleted my inventory. So it's like, right, now I can think this through a little bit better, and I can take this from a different angle. I am going to redo it. There will be hints of the original mock in my new one. So in a way, it's going on to live a better life. But there are mocks that I know that if I did tear down, there's one in particular, I did a pizzeria mock. My wife absolutely loves it, and I wouldn't say she's a Lego fan really, but she loves that mock. Like, she's just like, you can't tear that down. You cannot, it's like, I forbid you to to
Wow.
even think about it. She absolutely loves it. And it's such a big compliment for me, because when I look at it now, I can pick it apart with flaws. I can go, no, I could change that. I could do this. So I'm always seeking perfection, even in something that someone else would see and go, you know what, you've put so much detail in that. Like, just because, she's not a mock builder herself, but she can easily straight up have a look and go, wow, you've attention to detail. You've thought this through. There's other reasons why you've put this particular part there, or you've, set this little scene up. I've actually got a scene of it's basically me proposing to she's now my wife, but I've got an actual scene on there of a little minifigure with a ring down on one knee proposing. I mean, just something simple, but it to me and my wife, it meant something to us. So I've been able to find little things like that. But I know that if I did go to dismantle that pizzeria mock, I possibly could be living in the spare room for quite a long time before I'd be forgiven by my wife. So
Happy wife, happy life, man.
exactly, man. That is so true. But yeah, it's. I truly enjoy just, and seeing other people's reactions, to what I do. I don't consider myself a master builder. I don't consider myself an expert at all. But I enjoy the process. I enjoy interacting, and it's why I've enjoyed Instagram so much. The people that I've been able to connect with has been inspiring on its own, and yourself included. It's been great just to chat to you a bit on the on the streams through the week. It's been great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely. I was going to just add to that point. To go back and to look at something that you built and is perfected in your mind, and then go back and see the areas that you can improve on. That shows the growth as a builder.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you noticed, but usually I have my big Stormbreaker in the background here. And
yeah.
I love that Stormbreaker because it went from a handheld mock that me and my boss did at an event that we went to where he said, hey, man, I challenge you to make this better. And I said, man, why did you do that? Why did you challenge me to do something? So he challenged me to make it better. So I challenged myself, and it kept growing. It kept growing. So now it's completely destroyed.
Oh no!
Because I'm rebuilding it to where I want it to look like. I want it to look even better than what it looked like before. And it's not like I wasn't satisfied with it,
No.
But every time I looked at it and I looked at other examples of what it could be, I said, you know what? I've grown from this style of building where it's flat, it's brick by brick, overlap. Now I'm like, I can make this, I can expand this. Let me show you an example.
Yep.
So my Mario.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I love Mario. That's awesome.
I started this Mario a couple years ago, and it was like flat stomach. Everything was flat. Yep. And then just the last few days, I'll try to bring it a little closer. I started adding, building the detail around it so it could be more 3D and fleshed out.
That is cool. Yep, I love it. Yep.
It's like not that I wasn't satisfied with the original Mario. I mean, it's because of this Mario that I believe I got on Lego Masters, because the person who found me said they saw this Mario, and this is the Mario that brought them to my page. Wow. So it's like, you know, I didn't want to change it, but I'm like, man, upgrade, dude. So it's you know, you get to that point, and then like you mentioned, you meet so many awesome individuals on Instagram who's willing to do these videos and to, you know, just kind of share what they do in their builds. It's amazing. And the Lego Masters that I did the show with, they're my family. I love them. We talk every day, and they're the ones that, like, you know, anytime they come across something, they're going to put it out there so that other people can see it, and then other people can be inspired, because that's our job now, to be the agents of inspiration for those who maybe like, man, you know, I used to play with Lego, but I don't do it no more. And then you see us and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to now play with Lego again. I want to build these awesome builds with Lego. And, you know, if these guys can do it, if these guys and gals can do it, you know, why can't I? You know, so
exactly.
That's where we go.
It's awesome. You've mentioned you've traveled to Italy. Have you been to Australia yet?
So I was supposed to go to Australia, I want to say 2 years ago.
Okay. Yep.
It was on my things to do list, on my bucket list. I said the reason why I want to go to Australia, not for the beautiful sights and all of the awesomeness. One of the main thing I want to do is flush the toilet. Again, I said I'm a weird guy. I want to go and see all of the beautiful sights in Australia. It's a beautiful place. I've seen pictures. I've had friends who've been there. But they go, I say, hey man, when you flush the toilet, does it really go the opposite way? They're like, dude, it's mind blowing when you see it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta do this.
I'm a giant Simpsons fan, and one of their episodes covered that, and it was truly, you know, being a fan of the show, it was just like, the humor was right there. It's like, that's funny.
You had a machine that forced the water to go the other way, and I think Homer was like saluting during that. I'm like, not that deep, but you know, yes. As soon as you said that, like, I remember that episode so clearly. Yeah. Bart, all he wanted to do was Bart and then this guy with this giant boot comes out. Oh my gosh, that was so good. Oh man.
Well, it's hey, look, when you do get the chance to come over, I love learning about different countries and a lot of their words. So I feel I should do the Aussie thing or the Australian thing and give you some slang words that you might hear in your travels that will help you along your way.
I'm prepared.
You got a pen and paper? Okay. Well, you mentioned toilets right now. We obviously, you know, most of we will call the toilet a toilet, but if you are over here and you meet someone and they just say, hey, look, I've just got to duck off to the dunny as in D-U-N-N-Y. Dunny is toilet. So if someone says, I'll be back in a sec, just got to go to the dunny. Or, you know, you might hear someone, if you're over at someone's house and they have other visitors and they say, oh, where's your dunny? It means that they're asking, where's your toilet? So there you go. Okay, a little bit of toilet humor to kick things off. So there you go, dunny. What else is there? Okay, so if you're over here and someone invites you to a barbie is barbecue. That one.
Right.
So if someone says, "Hey, do you like snags?" Well, snags is a sausage.
Ah.
Yeah. So, or it could be seen as shortened for sensitive new age guy, snag. But
Okay. Okay.
but snag is a sausage. So you'll if someone says that they want to invite you to a sausage sizzle, that is it can be used, or it can be done in various ways, whether it's just, someone's maybe gotten up on a Sunday morning and wants to throw a couple of sausages and a bit of steak on the barbecue and have a like a barbecue breakfast. There's a particular hardware chain over here because of COVID at the moment. It's obviously made things a bit more difficult, but they have what's like a fundraiser, like a sausage sizzle, and it's various non-for-profit organisations can help. It's just a way to help raise money. So going to a hardware store, you'll walk past this and you'll smell, as soon as you get out of the car, you smell the sausages, you smell the meat, and you can smell the onion on the barbecue. It sort of draws you there. It's almost like being hypnotized. You just go straight there, and you end up walking in with the sausage sizzle. It's usually a bit of like a napkin with a piece of bread, like in a triangle sort of, and then you've got a sausage and then some sauce and then a bit of onion on top. That's a sausage sizzle.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and then usually on the way out, you go, well, I've had one. I sort of can't leave without having another one. So, you've yeah, exactly. It's like when if I'm sent in to go to, say, Kmart, for example, which is one of our main, we've got different, a couple of different like big department stores here in Australia, so it's like around the world. But my wife will send me in for something, I'll always walk out with Lego. It's even if I'm sent in the opposite direction of the Lego aisle, absolutely I'll be walking out with a Lego set. So it's
you have to.
Absolutely, man. And if someone says now, if you're walking around, be wary of drop bears. Drop bears aren't exactly real, but it's something that people like to tell tourists. But yeah, just play along if you want, but don't worry. So a drop bear is supposed to be something like would you say, an aggressive koala or something, or a bear that will drop out on you, like to attack you as you're walking under a tree or something, or whatever. But no, they're we don't exactly have drop bears here in Australia. And we don't have a kangaroos only lane on the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
I've heard that.
Yeah, so just a few little, and if someone says, "G'day, mate, how you going?" If they've called you a mate, that's their way of going, "Hey, man, how you doing?" Mate is, like the true word of mate is if someone calls you a mate, even if they have met you for the first time, mate's just a way of saying, "Hey, friend, how are you?" But in life, if you hear someone say that bloke is or that bloke or person is my best friend, he's my mate, that's what they're saying, is that, to them, a mate is almost more than family. So it's something that my dad, especially, he in life, in his life, he tried to see everybody as a mate, and that it's something that I try and do now myself, more than what I ever used to, even when he was still around. But so mateship is something that you would do anything for your friends. They are like family. You would do anything for them. You would give them a shirt off your back. You would, if they were having trouble at home, or if they lost their home, you'd be one of the first people to put your hand up and say, "Man, I've got a spare bed. Come over and everything's going to be okay." So mateship is a pretty big thing, and I think really that's what the world needs at the moment. We all need mates. We all need, the whole entire world at the moment's hurting. we all need mates. So, so if you hear that word mate, which especially over here you will, that's basically what it means. It's if you now I don't smoke cigarettes, but if you hear someone say, oh, I'm just going out the back for a durry is a cigarette. Yeah, so and if you're at a work thing and someone says, I'm just going for smoko can be used as like a smoke break, but a lot of us, and really now smoko is an excuse just to get up from your desk or whatever you're doing for work, and go and make like a cup of coffee and maybe grab a couple of biscuits. Now, biscuits for us, and I've heard the term, especially in the US, apparently biscuits for you guys is different to what we call biscuits over here. So biscuits over here are more seen as like a cookie or something like that. So biscuit could be savory, it could be sweet. Whereas you guys, biscuits for you is a bit different.
So it's weird. So for me, biscuits for me, because I grew up in a Caribbean house, so biscuits for me is cookies.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
But like biscuits for like in America are more like dinner biscuits, like more thick and warm, and you know, we eat it with a meal and stuff like that, like those type of biscuits.
So like bread almost?
It's the same thing, because some people in America still consider biscuits as like a cracker or a cookie.
Oh, okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's so yeah, I think possibly in the United Kingdom biscuits are the same. I haven't been over there, so I don't know, but I'm sort of used to how we've sort of, like, you know, as I've grown up, like we can have like bread or toast, you know, with dinner, and that's more just like your traditional bread, like a loaf of bread, that, you know, you put it in the toaster, or I think some people call it or it's like a toaster or something. It's a sliced bread. Whereas biscuits, yeah, for us is more like your savory, or like you said in the Caribbean is like a cookie. And so having the Caribbean background, obviously it's a very I'm not going to say unique, but it's culture, especially music and food. What would be your is there a piece of your culture that you most would do now? Like, I know that you like listening to reggae music.
Yeah.
Has music been the biggest thing, or is there more of other like traditions that you may not experience so much in the US itself? Or
yeah, it's for me it's mostly music.
Awesome. Yep.
Again, it goes back to my dad. My dad, he was a big enthusiast of reggae. A lot of the big name, like older reggae music people, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Gregory Isaac.
Wow.
All of the people who influenced in the 60s and 70s, he knew them personally.
Wow.
Like, Jamaica was a small island back then, so he knew all of them. Like, he was in the studio with them. He was, my dad used to dance back in the day, so he used to like choreograph with them. And, you know, he knew them, you know, before they got famous and big time, as they call it. So, you know, my father had vinyls, records. He would play those records, you know, day in, day out, you know, and that was what I was, that's what I was exposed to growing up, that type of music. And I've always seen, like, my dad, he will be, if he's mad, if he's upset about something at work or something, and I knew he was mad, he would go into, he had a music room dedicated to just his music.
Wow.
He would go into this room, close the door, and he would play that music. And when that music is playing, I know that he's upset. But he will come out, you know, feeling much better. So instead of him taking that anger out on the family or whatever, you know, he would just go into his room, play that music. And I'm the same way. Like, if I'm upset, if I'm bothered, if I can't think, I'll turn on some reggae music, and then that would just mellow me out to where I can now, I know exactly where I'm going now.
Yeah.
So yeah, music is that's the biggest influence in my life from the Caribbean.
Wow, it's great man, that you have that connection still, to your culture and that as well. And reggae, even on a world platform, it is so unique as a genre of music, and how it's expressed. And you can mention people like you have, and Bob Marley, of course, and everyone knows who that person is.
Yeah.
It's so music is such an international, it's its own entity, it's its own thing, but it can be, even on a world platform. It's great, man. It's great that I found music for me at the moment is both good and bad for me to listen to. It's hard because there are certain songs, because I've lost someone very close to me, and only, yes, it was this year, it was earlier in the year, but there's certain songs that will just trigger a memory, and then I've just got to walk away. I've got to put the headphones down, or switch it over to another channel, or whatever it is that I'm listening to, or so I've had to be a bit particular with my Spotify playlist at the moment. So I've been a bit careful there. But I found, like you said, you would know that if your dad was upset, he would go into his music room and play music, and you'd know that something was on his mind. I'm thankful for the fact that Lego has given me the opportunity to find a way to help just get through losing my dad. So I managed to make a minifig sort of likeness of him.
Oh, wow.
To try to, now he wasn't him, he was proud of the fact that I had a hobby or an interest that I really enjoyed. For that, he was, it's like saying, I'm happy that you're happy. You know what I mean? Like, it's that sort of thing. It didn't mean that he necessarily understood it, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to, and it's to each their own. But but he was able to. He saw that I had a particular interest, and so he was happy for that. But when I lost, I did step away for maybe a few weeks, because I just couldn't really, I couldn't really bring myself to sort of come back in and start, in the Lego room again. And I even found myself one night there, I sat down and just started building again. And my wife walked in and asked how I was, if I was okay. And I said to her, I even remember it still, I just said, I feel guilty that I'm taking, time now to just do my own thing. And it was just part of, because I felt like, okay, yeah, he's gone. He was taken suddenly in a crash. So, we had no way to say goodbye to him or anything like that. So it was truly, yeah. So from, and I felt that I needed to be doing more.
Right.
And, you sort of get to a point after a while where that it's not something that you're able to, it's not like buying a house where you've got to go through all the legal stuff, you've got to go through all the finances, then you've got your house, boom, you start to move in.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more time. It takes a lot more, sometimes years. But so from that, the minifig likeness of him, I'm starting to build my own layout, or in a way my own city, but it's not really going to be a city as in like a modern city with skyscrapers. I'm trying to aim for that bit more of a heritage sort of, a heritage sort of feel, like a county, or like a small, almost a fishing village, but have buildings that represent a bit more of a heritage or a classic sort of feel to them. So I'm trying to aim for that as my whole build. So I've made, so I call him Papa Brickman. He will be the deputy mayor. I didn't want to make him the mayor because it's too much work for him. It's, I want him to enjoy, he, Yeah, I wanted him to be able to go out fishing, which he liked to do in his spare time, and when he's not working with his cattle and stuff like that, because he was a man from the bush. In Australia, we would call him a bushy, meaning that he's a man of the land. He was a farmer, but he sold cattle, like for for meat produce and things like that. So he wasn't a dairy farmer, but he used them more for livestock, more for yeah, for meat. So when he's not working with his cattle, I wanted to be able to give him a chance to go fishing and do other stuff. I'm putting him in charge of the lighthouse, so he's going to be busy, but you
They got
know,
a job for them.
definitely. So, but I can certainly say that for me personally, it's been a way to be able to have him along with me on the journey. It's helping keeping his memory going. And look, I mean, out of stuff that we've experienced in our lives, yourself, Corey, with Travis, and just you being his brother and having to see him go through what he did. um, I think no matter whether it's Lego or anything else, we can find a way to, whether it's creating more of a close bond with that person, whatever hobby it is. I think if we find something like that, I think it's only going to help us benefit from that and be able to positively not move on as in forget that person, but just to help us ourselves get through that process to be able to um, find a way to positively remember them and keep them in our thoughts in a positive way and not let it drag us down.
Yeah.
Family is hugely important. My wife's been an absolute rock for me. And it sounds like you've obviously done the same with Travis, and he's an inspiration on his own as well, man. But don't forget what you've also done with him too, because I think for him to even say to you, yeah, let's go and do this show, let's actually go on there, obviously he thinks the world of you as well. So that's truly amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how me and Travis always were raised. It's just me and him. You
Yep.
know, we're the closest in age. We're 5 years apart.
Yep.
That's my best friend right there.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Yeah.
There are days in
Hmm.
just to kind of circle back where you mentioned certain music that you can't listen to because it reminded you of your dad.
Yeah.
Same thing. Even though my dad is here, is here.
Hmm.
He's getting older every day, and
Yeah.
right now he's dealing with an issue with his eyes.
Yeah.
His father went blind, and now my dad is in that same route where
Hmm.
he's right now he's legally blind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been hard on all of us
Hmm.
to kind of witness and watch him kind of break down in a sense that he's
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
same type of guy he was when we were kids growing up, and that's hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And me and my brother, we went on the show with the approach of saying, yeah, we're going to try to win, but we want our parents to be proud.
Yeah.
And I remember the opening night, the opening night of Lego Masters. We had the whole family was over my house. My mom, my dad, sisters, nieces, nephews, everybody was there. And I remember
Wow.
my dad, he was sitting on the chair
Yep.
and stuff like that. And his eyesight was starting to go, but he could still see, TV. He could still watch TV and everything like that.
Yeah.
And the episode opens up, and you see all this type of stuff, and it's me and Travis are the first, we're like the center for that quick 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Me and Travis were the center, and
Wow.
we were talking, and
Yeah.
like my family exploded. Like they didn't expect to see us, like
Wow.
bam, right there in the front.
Yep.
And my dad was sitting there. He was quiet the entire time. He was just kind of looking at it, and he had a smile on his face.
Wow.
And I was like, I came to him after the show, and I was like, so Dad, what you think? Because my dad's same thing. Like I'm happy that you're happy. He doesn't understand. He knows
Yep.
that we used to play with it as kids. He used to step on it, he used to get upset, but he didn't understand what we were
Exactly.
doing.
My dad. Yeah, exactly.
So
Wow.
he's like, you know what? and he has a strong Jamaican accent. My dad, he's lived here for over 30 years, still has a strong Jamaican accent. And he's like, you know, he looking at us, he like, my son, you're proud.
That's awesome.
You're proud. Because
yeah.
I don't know what Uno are doing on TV, but the fact that you're on TV,
yeah,
you know, he would have never thought
no.
that he and my brother would be on TV. And he's watching us on TV like, wow, my sons are on TV. And
you're on TV and for a positive thing, not for something wrong, not for a crime or something like that. Man, I'm great. I'm so glad that he got to, and look, I think he already would have been proud of you and Travis and the rest of your family before Lego Masters, but it's great that he got to see you and Travis on there and bringing positivity to the world. Even though, yes, Lego Masters was recorded, and even our season 2, it was recorded, you know, pre-COVID, but the fact that regardless, you know, even before the pandemic, the fact that you guys are, and not just that, but the whole the show and it's bringing positivity in, anything like that is a good thing, and it's great that you all got a chance to be able to share, you know, your passion, and it wasn't just with the US, man. This thing is global. There's like it is absolutely global. It is such a, and I hope going forward that they can keep doing that series, and even if I was offered the opportunity myself, I know I would turn it down purely because of I can't build the type of so not the minifigs, but even, for example, if you said to me, hey man, build me Mario, like the one that you just showed me in the background there behind you, I would certainly have a go, but I wouldn't even be able to, like, unless I had like Google Images with me or an iPad with photos that I could just keep zooming in on, it would take me an extremely long time, and it wouldn't look anywhere near as good as what other people can do. But I know that there's other technical aspects, not just that sort of, you know, posable figures or things like that to build. I love Technic for like Lego Technic for its ability to, you know, mechanical, or, you know, to help with you know, making things move and doing all that sort of stuff. I think it's great. Worm gears for doing your cranes and things like that's awesome. But my Technic ability is extremely limited, so on that, what out of all the various forms, what do you find is actually challenging, as far as the, like, whether it's like Lego Technic or anything like that? What's your challenge?
Oof. Oh man, let me see. Wow, that is a really good question, because I've never really.
I do apologize, because I know at the start, before we started recording, that I said I didn't want to put you on the spot on anything, but I thought, oh, maybe you might have a topic, or not a topic, but a part of Lego that's like, oh, geez, that's challenge. Geez, I just don't know how to do that. Or
No. You know what? I'll be quite honest with you. I don't know if I haven't. I don't want to sound cocky or anything.
No.
Some of the stuff that I've tackled has not been a challenge for me.
Okay. Yeah.
When I say challenge, my definition of challenge is something that puts me in a position where I need to ask for help.
Okay.
Or I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So I would say, out of all the stuff that I've worked on, the only thing that has given me a challenge was the build that we did on Lego Masters, the cut in half challenge.
Okay.
Excuse me. That challenge right there had to have been the hardest challenge that I've ever experienced with Lego.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that we had to build on such a small space of Lego brick, we couldn't alter the actual figure. So we didn't have we didn't have any other places for studs We only had a small space, and it was literally, they cut out the middle of a 32 by 32 base plate. They cut out the middle of it.
Yeah.
They placed that on the back of this piñata, and the approach was to make a car.
Yeah.
So my approach was, all right, I'm going to take Technic pieces. I'm going to shape the frame of the car.
Yep.
And then we'll build the door, plant the door. We'll build the trunk, plant the trunk. We'll build the panels. And in my mind, I was like, all right, that should be easy. Build the frame, panels, wheels.
Yep.
Smoke, like billows of smoke, showing that is driving.
Yep. From the exhaust.
I figured we could put the piñata in, built it, tilted back as if it's making it. My whole mind frame was like, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
But then when we started to build, that was the challenge. Like, I spent so long building the frame, and my brother kept saying, yo, man, just leave it, man. Let's just build it out of brick. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, man, that's like the judges, they're going to come over and they'll be like, oh, you guys are taking the easy route, building this whole thing out of brick. Yeah. I'm like, no, let's be technical. Let's do something that they're going to look at and say, I don't know how you guys pulled it off, but you pulled it off.
Yeah.
And we didn't, and we even though we were on the track of doing that, like even the brick masters were saying, Jamie, he was saying, you guys were very ambitious, and I can see where you guys were going with it. If you guys had an hour, you guys would have nailed it. And it would have been impressive to do that on top of the small piece, but we didn't have that hour.
Yeah.
So that was like the one challenge that I've ever had. Like, building the church, I thought would have been a big challenge. Once I understood how to scale it down, it wasn't a challenge. The Stormbreaker, that wasn't a challenge. The gauntlet that I have, my Infinity Gauntlet, I thought that was going to be a challenge, building that and having that be able to move and stay put.
Yep.
After many iterations, it became natural for me to like kind of make the adjustments, and to the point where I made a second gauntlet in half the time it took me to make the first gauntlet. So, you know, I'm the type person, like, I will figure it out. If you give me the time, I can figure it out, and I can make it work to the best way possible. Yeah. But when it came to that challenge right there, that was the hardest challenge I've ever had, to configure Lego onto something that is not Lego with a small space. Build with. That was the challenge.
That is on its own a challenge. I know. For not that I haven't met Jamie Barrard, but just knowing his amount of time that he's had with Lego, and even before he got his job working with Lego, his name stands out for me because he was he did the Parisian restaurant out of the Lego Creator theme or series. So compared to even when he made that set to where we are now with parts and color, for him back then to be able to do that, you know, is very creative, you know, is next level. So for him to say what he said to you and Travis alone should be a massive compliment, for the fact that, you know, Jamie's level of creativity, his expertise in his field, for him to go, I can see what you guys were going to do, and that would have been absolutely fantastic. That alone, I know that, you know, you guys weren't able to finish it, but it should be seen. You should both see it as a big compliment, especially from him, for the fact that,
definitely. And I'll share with you, even behind the scenes, because a lot of stuff, you know, didn't make it on camera. Behind the scenes, when Jamie came over to us and he was looking at what we were doing, and as I was explaining it to him, his face lit up. And you know, when Jamie's face when it lights up like that, that means that he's excited for what you're about to do, and you're going to do something that he himself wasn't even thinking about doing. Because all these projects, Jamie and Amy sat down and they actually pondered, okay, well, which project, what approach would you have done with this one? What approach would you have done with that one? So they did their own, you know, assessment. And he said, you know, guys, you know, you guys should be very proud of what you guys accomplished here. You know, where you started from where you are now, and it's a shame that you guys have to go home right now, because the way you guys were improving you guys were going to be a team to be reckoned with had you got through this challenge and get on to the next challenge, because our momentum was starting to pick up after the second challenge.
Yeah.
And that third challenge, that monkey wrench really just that really caught us. But when Jamie told me that, I shaked his hand and I said, you know what, Jamie, thank you, because this is not going to be the end of us, and it wasn't, because me and my brother, we went home and we continued to do the challenges.
Yep.
So we kept doing the challenges every single week.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's really cool. Yeah.
We had to go based on the first season of Australia, because we didn't know the rest of the challenges. Because even though our brothers and sisters on the show, we would ask them, hey, you know, what's this week's challenge? And they'll say, oh, we're doing this, but it might change. And they really can't tell us when it's going to change. So we just like, all right, well, we'll just go based off of this and just make our own twist.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So
yeah. There were some really cool challenges and very unique ones, even from the Australian season 1 and season 2. Again, I'll stipulate that I haven't been able to actually see all the episodes, you know, from the UK version and then from the US version. And I think the Germany one has only just started. Maybe I could be wrong. I think I saw something on someone posted on. Yeah.
I think they might be done, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So but I can only sort of go off what I've seen, you know, from watching all of the season 1, season 2 here and at home. And the weight challenge from season 1 was my favorite. So they had to build a bridge and then put weights on it to see, you know, whose would, you know, last along with the most amount of weight. And that looked really fun. That one, I think I would have, if it was me on there, I'd like to think I would have actually had a good go at that, because I would have heavily used technique as certainly as your like the foundation, or the, you know, for its structure, for its ability, so you can use the pins, you can do all that to help give you that reinforcement. Season 2, they on ours, I don't know if you've seen anything or seen any clips of it, but
I've seen it. Yes.
Well, season 2, the underwater one for me would have been a huge. I think I would have buckled on that one, mate. I don't think I would have been able to do that one, but it looked cool.
that one. So that's the one thing we were talking about on the show. We were kind of jealous, because some of the things that Australia was doing was just out of this world. It was challenges like that underwater challenge. When I first saw the advertisements for it, I was like, guys, they're building stuff underwater. Yeah. And we're just like, oh my gosh, we are so behind. We are so behind. You know, recently in one of my classes, I was teaching something, a theme I came up with called Worlds Collide, where the kids are building in different conditions than the conditions that they're usually building on, like either their tables or carpets. So I gave them the option. You have 3 elements that you can build on: water, dirt, or wind. So most of the kids chose water. So they got these buckets of water, and they are building their Lego in water. And the goal is to have their house stay stationed and not float, because it's easy to build a house and have it float. You got to build a house and have it stationed in the water. So these kids learned how to build pillars underneath the water. They even created scenes where they got their minifigs with snorkels, and they added them to their scenes. And they brought their, you know, some of them, they brought their camera or webcam on the outside of the bucket, clear bucket, so I can see the detail. Like they got little sharks underneath that they connected to their base plate. They built everything up with standard pillars and all that stuff. And I'm like, you guys, you really thought of everything. Yeah. And that's what I love to see. And you know, that challenge gave me that motivation to see that.
From that, you could nearly do your own little series, like whether it's a YouTube series or something with that, like that alone, like from what you've told me, I would struggle doing that. And I'm an adult fan of Lego. I would hugely struggle doing an underwater thing, because I would be in my mind, trying to get the technical aspect of keeping it underwater and keeping it like in so that it doesn't just float up to the surface and float around, especially if you're building like a house or a building that you want to keep. Yeah, that would challenge me. So, man, it's great that you can find ways to. It's like bringing like real engineering, um, and teaching kids, because you never know, from that you might help kick off their creativity in their life or their passion for something, and they could turn out to be an engineer or or an architect, or if you're doing like working with buildings, they could be like a structural engineer, or like an interior designer or something like that. And these are industries that pay very well.
Yeah.
They and can be lifelong rewarding careers. So I mean, man, it's hats off to yourself and Corey and others who do that. But dude, I think you're sitting on something very, very cool that could maybe. I know there's a lot of work, and it's easy for people to say, oh, you could just do a YouTube series. There's a lot of editing. There's a lot of then you've got to go through, because if you're and then you're working with kids, and it's all that sort of. And then I know, I think it's Copa is a pretty big thing at the moment, and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of challenges there, but for something that would be, I think there would be such a great opportunity there, and it's always easier said than done. But it sounds like you would have the makings of something there yourself, like whether it's your own TV show or or potential to pilot for a TV show, or a YouTube series, or something like that. Or it would be, I think that'd be really cool.
That would be.
Yeah.
That's something, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I was saying it on one of my lives that I chose 5 of my students, 5 of the I wouldn't say top students, but the most creative and most I guess for lack of a better word, versatile than Lego. Students, and I reach out to their parents and I ask, hey, I have a project that I want to try with these kids, and it's a virtual project. They would we would do the planning. I would purchase the Lego. I would send it to their homes, and then they would build this part of the project, and we would try to bring this project together and donate the project to a children's hospital or to a foundation of some sort. So I said, I want to bring these kids. I want to do this with these kids. I want to kind of bring them along for this ride, and it'll be an awesome experience for them. Parents were all for it. And, a part of me was saying, I would love to see if I could do this to where I could place this on YouTube, as if it was like, Brothers Who Brick projects. And it's like five awesome students from around the country are working together in a collaborative, build, whatever. So I like all these things. I was thinking of that. And by you mentioning that, Tazzman, I'm like, wow, you were picking my brain, because that's exactly, the direction I want to go in. When it comes to these kids, not even bringing them fame, but this could lead to like scholarships for them, this could lead to a direction of engineering, like you said, to where, this sparks something. And I'm like, man, if I could be a part of that, man, by all means, I love it.
Well, and I think that's one of the things we're afforded this chance to work with a medium medium's probably the wrong word, a particular product that resonates not just with kids but also adults as well, and it can bring it's great for family bonding time. And I use it with my own kids. Like we'll I do like to give them their what we call screen time. So but then I'll say, okay, now we're going to go in the room and just build. My son will start working on a set. My daughter will help me. She even likes helping me parts sort. So I'm lazy. I'd say, okay, darling, so see this red brick here? Okay, so any of these ones that you find, can you put them in this pile for Dad? That would be awesome, darling. And she's happy sitting there away she goes, and she sings little songs. I'll put like the Disney playlist on Spotify for them, and they'll happily sit there and listen to it. And so it is such a great thing. But like you've said, working with those students, you're helping, and I try to do the same with my kids, where I'm just letting their creativity, I'm happy to just give them a pile of bricks and say, okay, build something and show me, or I'll just let them build and we just hang out and like I might be working on my own thing, but we're all just hanging out. And you know, my daughter will sometimes she'll see me actually, she's on parts that I've got aside that I'm using, she'll just start grabbing them off me and build something herself. And it's like, oh, I really like that, but I was going to use that part, you know. I don't have many of those parts left, you know. So it's but no, I really like I like that idea. And like I said, it's easier said than done when you say, oh, I mean, just do a YouTube series. There's a lot of behind the scenes involved with that. Of course, you know, you go through, like you've said, you go through the parents, and once you've got them on board, great. You've then got the editing, you've got the time invested in that as well. You have got some financial outlay, you know, but if you can be a part of watching their imaginations grow, but encouraging them, giving them that positivity to say, you can do this, you can go ahead and do this. I think it's far more better than, you know, trying to be too realistic with them to say, no, you can't do that. Because, you know, you do read a lot of, and I watch multiple interviews of, you know, even Lego, you know, of people who now work for Lego, but also I've read various articles about architects, and not all of them, but a large percentage of them had some form of connection with Lego, whether they were a kid or in their teens or at some point in their life. And that's helped them to spark a level of interest in a career and then you'll hear them come back and say, I played with Lego as a kid, and then got me into, you know, to an architect. And a good example of that is the guy that did the actual Lego house in Denmark. I think it's on Netflix. Yeah, I've got it on Netflix. Is it Home of the Brick? I think it's called, a House of the Brick or Home of the Brick. He played with Lego when he was a kid, and he's an architect, and he got to build the Lego house. How cool is that? You know, so I think it's such a
You look at it, it's just a bunch of from aerial view.
Yeah,
it's a bunch of bricks. It's just a bunch of bricks layered on top of each other, different colors. I'm just like, it's a simple design, but it's amazing to see how you put it together. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to go there one day. It's definitely a bucket list item. You know, one day. I know at the moment it's far more difficult to do than previously, but still, if it can happen, definitely a bucket list item to go and see it. It'd be, you know, I don't think I'd be able to get my kids out of there. I think in the end, security would be dragging us all out, and my wife. She'd be like, "Come on, let's go." Yeah, I mean, it's truly has been great, and again, Corey, I know I appreciate the time that you've afforded me. For you, would be now in the early evening. But I truly appreciate it, man. I'd love to do this again sometime, just to hang out and chill and just, you know, just get to know you but so far it's been great. I've truly enjoyed, even with your streams, just your, you know, your positive approach to life. And we've all had our challenges, but you know, the world needs positivity, and you've certainly helped with that. And so, man, don't ever give up on that, because you know the world does need kindness and happiness, and we're all hurting at the moment, and it's great that there are people out there who still see, you know, worth in the positive approach. And you know, we certainly need that. So, man, thank you so much. It's been an absolute privilege for me as well, just to hang out with you and get to know you and learn that you like cooking, and though your background, your cultural heritage is different to your food love, which is, you know, Italian food. I think that's great though, man. And it's great to learn little things like that. That's what I enjoy about this and it's why I like watching the streams and that is to learn a bit more. And again, I was aiming to not make it a very formal thing, but it was more just to hang out and say, as we say, you know, say good day, mate, how you going? And just get to hang out. I noticed your brooch there, so Brego. I noticed that. Is that available internationally, or is it just on a like a US only type thing at the moment?
Absolutely not. Is international. I
Yep.
do ship international.
Great.
Um,
Okay.
uh,
That's
it
fantastic.
just takes a little bit of time because of
Of
what's
course.
going on with the COVID. So a
Yeah.
lot of international stuff has been delayed. But
Yeah.
I do international. You could order it from my website, samsbrego.com.
Excellent. Yep.
If you go into product, you'll see my different Bregos that I have. If you have a special request, you can send an email, samsbrego@gmail.com. You can send me an email to where I can design it with you.
Awesome.
And once we design it and we finalize a look,
Yep.
I'll build it and I'll ship it the next day most times. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to give you the opportunity. I'm going to call this Plug Fest. So you've already mentioned samsbrego.com. Where else can we find you?
So you can find my brother and I on our YouTube channel, Brothers Who Brick.
Yes.
We are very excited about a couple of things that we have coming down the pipe. So you can just check us out on Instagram as well, Brothers Who Brick. That way you can see all the good stuff, all the cool stuff that we're going to be doing. We have an event coming up on the 25th where it's with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in New Jersey, where we're doing what's called Little Heroes Prom, where we're doing a kind of a prom Lego event for patients,
Wow.
kid patients of leukemia and lymphoma. So we're doing that on the 25th of this month.
Awesome.
You can also check us out or check me out on Sam's Brego, all social media, Sam's Brego, SAMZBREGO. For all of the new Brego that I put out a new Brego every Monday. I call it Brego Mondays,
Awesome.
where I would have a Brego design. So if you see one of those designs that you really like and you want to purchase, then we could definitely make that happen for you through samsbrego.com and also Etsy. I have an Etsy store as well, so you can always go through Etsy as well.
Oh, cool. Yep.
What else? I believe that's it. We have a Patreon. We have a Patreon page that we are.
Yep.
We're going to launch very soon, and the Patreon page is solely for donations for our projects when it comes to children hospitals and children charities. So that's going to be solely for that purpose alone. So once we have our partnerships kind of set, then we will launch our Patreon page, and Patreon is going to be patreon.com/Brothers Who Brick.
Awesome. I'll make sure. Let me know when that's happened, and I'll make sure I put a thing up, even just on my little my little corner of social of social media. I mainly am on Instagram. I have a Facebook as well, but I'll definitely share that as well, because I think especially that one about helping with the leukemia and lymphoma. It's a very, very special. I know it's close to your heart and Travis and your family. But it would certainly have touched many other lives as well. So and it's great that you guys are doing something to help not only support that particular area, but also to help bring awareness to it as well. So man, thank you very much for that, and I'll make sure I share that around as well. But man, thank you again. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to get to hang out with you. At the start, I was nervous because for me, I see someone who's been on TV, especially doing Lego Masters, but not just that, as it's like, okay, I'm talking to someone who's not just known, just in the US, but this is again a global platform. So Lego Masters is when you hear about that, I wonder who they've got doing it in that country, and you start to look up information, you start to get on the Google and see what's going on, and
yeah,
it's truly great, man. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. It has been for me again. It is Father's when this is being recorded. It's Father's Day here in Australia, so this has actually been a great way to start my Father's Day. Just to get to hang out with someone. My dad would be looking down with a smile on his face. He'd be going, "Oh, they're talking about all that Lego Technic. What's that?" But he'd be looking down, knowing that I've got a chance to help, bring some positivity to, especially to the day, but also just to make a connection with someone else, and to say, mate, it's been fantastic talking to you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. You are my mate. You're my
We're
mate
mates.
now.
We're mates, man. We're not friends. We're mates.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anytime you want to do this, and
Thank you
same
so much.
thing goes for you too. You know, when we do an interview section of our show, I'm definitely going to reach out to you, and that way you can show off some of your
Oh, thank you.
skills,
That would be awesome.
you,
Thank you, man.
give you a little bit of a platform as well
Yeah.
to share some of your stories as well, because you know, it's incredible what you do, and you know, I'm not a father yet, but I have a big respect for fathers, especially the fathers who are active in their children's lives. So
Yeah.
me, you're a hero in my book. So
Oh, man, look,
keep
thank
doing
you.
what you're doing.
Your positivity and has helped me as well, because at the moment, especially just, you know, I can have my dark days. I can have my down days, especially with what I've, you know, had to go through just on a personal level, and other challenges that I haven't sort of mentioned. But um, your outlook on all this has helped, you know, get me out of those like funks, out of that way of going, you know what, this is a really, and I'll even go back and watch maybe a previous stream that's been, you know, either shared to Instagram or to your YouTube channel, and just to give that little bit of a positive kick to my day, and it helps me. It truly does, and I'm not just saying that. It
Awesome.
truly does, because you see someone who's oozing positivity, and you go, you know what, yeah, okay, I have gone through a really rough time, but I'm going to get through it. And sometimes it's just that little bit of a positive, or that little bit of happiness, just helps you get through maybe that few hours of the day, or just that little moment in time where you think, I'm not going to be able to smile at the end of the day, and I can walk away and go, you know what, there's other people in the world that have gone through far worse than what I have.
Right.
But we all have that time where we need that little bit of a pick me up, or that little bit of a, you know, get me into a bit more of a happier stage. And um, I enjoy watching your streams and just your outlook, and how you connect with people. You don't look for anything negative. You're not a keyboard warrior. You know, you're a person who has that passion, and then that you're happy to share that with other people, whether it's like-minded or otherwise. And so, man, yeah, that alone has been good. So I thank you for that, and I want to be able to do more of that myself. And so, and seeing how you do it has certainly given me that little bit of inspiration to be able to, in a way, get in front of well, not in front of the camera. You can see my build at the moment, but to get me out there a bit more, and try and help in my own way, bring some positivity as well to others, and to say, you know what, it's okay. Share what you know, if you want to share what you have, um, because, you know, we're lucky in for that. There's more positivity with Lego than there is negativity, and you know, there's a thing where we say, like tall poppy syndrome is one. I don't know if you've heard that as a reference before, but it's like saying, you know, there are people who want to cut you down, or bring you down to their level, and I'm not for that. I want to be able to um,
Absolutely.
help and be more positive, and
Absolutely.
it's hard to do. It is hard to do, but man,
Yes.
you seem to make it easy, and I know you've been through a lot in your life as well. But man, whatever it is that's helping you do that, keep doing it, because it's great to see.
Thank you. It's to be honest with you, it's a combination of life experiences, my family, and just the type of person I've always been. My
Yeah,
mom would tell you I'm the type of person who I just want to make a friend. As a
yeah,
kid, that's all I wanted to do, was just have a friend, make friends, make people laugh. Not a comedian, but make people genuinely feel better about their day. You know, that was my whole thing growing up, and even as an adult, I mean, that's just who I am.
yeah,
You know, I don't
definitely.
want anything in return. I don't want anything in return. If I know that, just you telling me that right now, I'm smiling from ear to ear, because it's like I'm
Yeah,
genuinely happy to hear that, you know, and any way I can help you, and just you know, be a good friend to you in that way, you know, by all means, I'm here for it. You know, if you ever say, hey, you know, Corey, you know, I got this thing that I'm doing for my stream, I would love to see you on. If you can come on, if I can do it, if I'm available, by all means, you'll see me there.
Thank you so much,
that's
man.
the type of person I am. I'm supportive, no matter what. So it doesn't really matter,
that.
Your background or whatever. Like none of that stuff matters to me. It's if your values match mine as far as how you look at life and how you value family, you're a brother in my book. That's how I look at it. So
awesome, man. I truly appreciate it. So again, man, thank you. And I'm not just saying it because I've got you on, and when we're chatting, it truly, it has been there's been days where I've struggled, and I'll put a stream on, or just if you're on live at the time, or if you're not, I'll go back and look for one that I might have missed, and I'll go back and watch it and just have it in the background, and then go, and sometimes it'll be just something that you'll say, or something, how you'll approach, how you're building something, and it'll just kick my thought process out of whatever I'm in and gets me into a different field. And it's like, okay. And I can walk away at the end and going, it wasn't really a bad day after all, or just that little bit of time, I can then get out of that sort of bad funk and then just move on to something. And yeah, so it's great, man. Thank you again. I really appreciate it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Anytime, and again, I'd love to have you back on. And yeah, if you're happy to do something, and I'd be honored to be invited on. Absolutely no pressure, of course. It's not something that that I'm not expecting in return. But if I can also make it happen with the time frames, absolutely, man, definitely.
Cool. That sounds great.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks again.
No problem. Happy Father's Day. Enjoy the rest of it, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We are the Brothers Who Brick.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is